Hey everyone, welcome back to the Always Closing podcast. Today I got a very special guest. My friend Sofie Habeeb is in the building with us today. So thank you for doing the podcast.
Of course.
Now, we've been talking about it a few times that every time you come in, I feel like we have a good conversation. I was like, you know what, we need to record this.
Yeah. Proof.
Yeah, so here we are. So thanks for doing the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Why don't you start off by just introducing yourself? Let us know a little bit about your background, how you got into the industry.
Sure. My name's Sophie, and I'm a realtor out in the Lakewood and surrounding areas. I have a service management background with hospitality. I was a server for a really long time. I enjoyed it, but it's really hard on your body. So,
Yeah. But does it help you develop like your people skills though?
100%.
Yeah.
I think everybody should work in a restaurant somewhere.
Yeah.
At least for a couple months. It's not what you think it is.
I know.
It's not. And people are very rude sometimes. There's also very nice people out there too.
Yeah.
So it's very full circle.
Same with the realtors, by the way.
Yeah.
Because we deal with some crazy ones here, but not everyone's like nice like you. So, but that's something in the industry, right? I mean,
Thank you. Yeah. Honestly, I think if you yourself, aren't nice to work with, who's going to want to work with you?
Yeah, exactly.
I get a lot of referrals just because I was nice, and people didn't know me, but they were like, "Oh, you seem like you would want to work."
Right, you'd be fun to work with.
Yeah, and that's the goal. I mean, I want to have fun too.
Yeah,
I don't want.
I've always said that about real estate. I think just like it's not always maybe how long you've been in the industry or how much you know even sometimes. I mean, of course you should know your craft, but I feel like a lot of people just want to work with people that they like, I feel like that has a big part to do with it, and how it's such a big industry. I feel like you just got to be genuine about yourself.
Mm-hmm. And you would be surprised, a lot of the agents that I work with are not from my brokerage.
Really?
And they throw me open houses, they throw me leads. I have agents from down in Oceanside, same brokerage, they just give me, they're like, oh, I don't want to drive today.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you go from working in the restaurant to, did you make that transition from that to real estate?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I don't exactly remember how it happened, but I remember always thinking like, man, I love beautiful homes. I love looking at them. I love the aesthetics. And I'm like, I want to be inside every beautiful house.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, realtors do that. So I think that's how my interest started. I went to schooling, I got my license, and then boom, I was working, serving, and then I would go in the mornings to real estate. I would have a 30-minute window, come home, boom, change, go back to serving. Until I felt adequate enough where I could leave one for the other.
So you went full-time real estate?
Yes.
How long did that take you?
I think it was like 3 or 4 months where I was like,
oh, wow, that's fast.
Yeah.
So you kind of like hit the ground running then.
You have to.
Yeah.
Everything you do in life, you have to.
That's right. That's
everything.
Right.
It could be anything, you have to hit the ground running.
And what is it that you love about real estate? Like what made you say, I love the nice homes, or I want to start working in this industry? Is there anything specifically, or even now that you work in real estate, is there something that you specifically like about working in real estate?
I mean, everything, really. It's very frustrating sometimes. You definitely have to know how to navigate people. Mm-hmm. And I think the biggest thing for me is I just listen to the client.
Yeah.
I let the client do the talking, and I listen. Oh, okay, this is what they want. It sounds like this is what they want. Or sometimes the client's confused.
Yeah.
They're saying they want this, but when you're touring and they're like, oh, I love this, and it's completely opposite.
Right.
So it's listening and deciphering. But I just deliver them what they want.
How much of it is like trying to get them what they're saying they want, as opposed to what you think would be a better fit for them?
Sometimes it happens. I think it's a blend. I think it's a very harmonious blend. Sometimes it happens where I had a client, she was looking for something with lots of natural sunlight. Mm-hmm. And she didn't want to be, stairs, didn't want to deal with stairs. So we found her a really beautiful condo that had a patio overlooking the sunset in Long Beach.
Nice.
Amazing views at that time. And it was like $410 at that time. Today we could,
Yeah, you're not getting nothing for $410 out in Long Beach.
But she kept talking about sunlight. She never really said view. you
Yeah.
know, but I was like,
even
this
better.
is amazing. Yeah. So I brought her out and I was like, what about this? You know,
Right.
lots of sunlight. And that's what was sold her, like totally sold her.
Yeah. How about on the flip? Like, what's something that you hate about working in real estate? Or you said, it could be challenging.
Oh
So
my God.
maybe some interesting stories that you have.
I hate putting out open house signs. That is my number one most hated activity
Yeah.
of real estate. I just don't like people watching me.
Yeah.
It's a lot of pressure for me. I don't know. I seem very like, oh, I'm confident, but when I'm putting out open house signs, there's so many cars driving by. I'm like, oh my God, everybody can see me. Then I trip or,
Yeah.
like everybody saw that.
That's funny.
So that I try to do it like early in the morning when it's dark, when there's less people out.
So you mentioned that you kind of focus on Lakewood area, right? What made you choose Lakewood?
I grew up there.
Okay.
Yeah, I
So
grew
you
up in
so you just
Lakewood.
know the area very well.
Yeah.
That's important, I'm guessing.
Yes, I can navigate Lakewood like no other.
So what do you do to kind of focus on Lakewood? Do you farm that area?
I farm a specific area in Lakewood.
Okay.
I try to work a lot of my open houses in Lakewood too. There's a lot of other agents that are farmers in Lakewood that don't want that to happen, obviously, so it's tough to break into the market, but I feel like I just try to build rapport.
Right.
Try to build rapport with everybody I meet. I try to be genuine. I'm not faking the rapport. That's
Right.
very important because I feel like people can sense when you're being real or not. Yeah. So I try to build rapport and I ask them, I say, hey, I want to get to your level.
Yeah.
Can you please throw me something?
Yeah.
Throw me an open house. Let me prove to you that, I can work.
Can be an asset.
Yes. Yeah.
What's special about Lakewood? I mean, is there anything that you can say is great about the city that you have learned over the years by working in that area that would draw more people to Lakewood?
I think Lakewood is the perfect swing between if you're in a condo and moving into a first-time home, single family unit. I think it's a perfect swing there. Or if you're just starting off and you want that first-time house,
Right.
it's the perfect start. The homes are not ginormous, but they're
Not like the standard 3-bedroom, 2-bath type of thing?
right.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they're moving more towards the 2 bathrooms. Before it was 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, which is great. Another bathroom. But it's just, it builds your equity fast in Lakewood. You see the return fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
As
good.
compared to the surrounding cities.
Is it a pretty competitive city as far as agents go? It is.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But you know what? I don't mind it. There's enough business for everybody. Do you know how many homes there are out there?
There is.
Yeah, there's enough business for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, I think, of course, things are a little slower than normal right now because of inventory rates, all that we've been talking about for the last few years, right? I mean, we all know that in this industry, but when you actually look at how many homes are hitting the market, there's a lot. It's still a big number. And I tell my team that here too when we make our cold calls and we're calling different agents to see if we could work with them on their listings. And it's like, if you look at Zillow or even the reports that we get of all the new listings that just hit the market in the last 24 hours, it's like hundreds a day. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like more than we can handle. So, there's plenty of work out there. You just got to be kind of willing to go out and get it.
Yeah, I agree. I think with an abundant mindset, there's abundant business and there's abundant flow. So
Right.
you just position yourself into that mindset and the rest just kind of falls into place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your social media for a little bit because I think that's how we connected through social media. And obviously you have a lot of followers. So how did you kind of build it up to that? And how has social media worked in your favor?
Honestly, I get a lot of leads from social media. I network a lot on social media. Social media, it's the end all be all, nobody wants to be on it, but,
Yeah.
but you use that tool, and you network and you build your business because in this day and age, that's the way the generation's going. So you got to work with the generation.
Right.
The older agents, I find they're networking and they're conducting business through their sphere of influence, and it's the older crowd. Maybe that's how they're getting their business.
Right.
But for me, I don't know very many older generations. My crowd is younger, so
Right.
I'm focused more on the younger crowd, and this is what they want.
Right.
This is how they want to communicate. They don't want me to call them. They don't want to talk on the phone. They want me to text them
Right.
in detail, so I voice text them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What did you do really to get to build up the followers? Do you follow a specific strategy? What do you do to kind of keep up with the trends on the videos, things like that? Or do you just kind of just go what comes to your mind and then it's just worked?
No, I research.
There's more strategy behind it?
Yes, there's definitely strategy. If I see stuff taking off, then I'm like, okay, this is where the crowd is going.
Right.
So that's kind of what I tailor my videos to. But sometimes, I mean, honestly, you can have, I saw people talking about this on a podcast the other day. They were saying, you can have content, but if your quality of content is not good, like the quality of picture and, making people want to watch, it's going to be harder for them to watch. So that was the biggest tip I took away from the other podcast.
Right.
And that's kind of where I'm focusing now is quality,
Right.
Before it was trends.
Just volume?
Yeah, volume and trends. And also there's something called trial reels on Instagram. Did you know that?
I did not, so educate me, please.
So trial reels are reels you can post. They're going to post from your page as reels, but they're only going to post to non-followers, which is huge.
Yeah.
Even if you get 100 people, if I stood 100 people in front of us right now, we'd be sweating right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So let's not focus on just likes and numbers, but when you get 100 views on a trial reel, let's say you post something like looking to sell in Yorba Linda area.
Right.
And it's just text graphics. It doesn't even have to be you talking. Let's start off small. I got, build up the other day. I was looking at it and it was 19.8 thousand views in the last month. And all I've been posting, if you go on my page, I haven't been posting, but I have.
Yeah.
I've been posting on trial reels.
So it doesn't actually post to your page then?
If the trial reel takes off and it's doing phenomenal, like it went viral, it'll post to your page. It'll ask you, do you want to post this to your page? Of course I want to post this to my page.
Yeah. Okay.
So I feel like that's a great, look into that.
Yeah, because I mean, I've been watching a lot of stuff lately that's, even though I'm definitely giving you praise that you built up your page big, that nowadays, even the followers and all that doesn't matter as much.
Does not.
Because you could have 200-300 followers, but if the content is good, it will push you out to more people than the person with 100,000 followers, So I think it's really, like you're saying, kind of quality based. And I don't think you don't mean, 4K cameras, lighting, that type of quality. I mean, obviously that's important too.
Right.
But it's more about the quality of the content itself, right? That people want to watch it.
And the picture quality.
Yeah.
Together. It has to be a blend, a harmonious blend.
Yeah.
So this is something I tell my husband too. And the third thing is there has to be content.
Yeah.
You have to push. You have to create a schedule. It's like work. People think it's all glamorous. It's not. It's like work.
It is.
You have to set everything up. It's a whole day's production.
We do it here at the office. We have twice a month, or these are our content shooting days. And we sit in the office and we try to change it up because we don't want everything to be in this room, So we do some stuff outside or at events that we're at and things like that. But yeah, we set at least 2 days a month where we're shooting content, and it's always today's content day, but you got to get it done.
You have to, yeah. It's like any other chore, and you have to. And someone told me this. I need to be better at it. Time blocking is major. You have to time block yourself. These 3 hours, I'm just gonna call.
I can't schedule anything on this.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm just gonna pick up the phone and call people.
Right.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah.
So time blocking is big too.
Do you have a strategy that actually do you create content that is meant to generate leads? I've seen a lot of people will post oh, here's this house in whatever city, right? And then doing a little tour or something. And it's if you're interested, type this and this in the comments. So how are you getting your leads from social media? Are they just people that will just DM you, or is your content kind of geared towards bringing in a lead?
My content is always focused on bringing in leads. I don't want to make anything if it doesn't have to do with bringing in a lead somehow. Hello,
Okay.
it's a business.
Yeah. Because we got to get better at that. So
Yeah.
because we make stuff that's a lot of like education based, and we try to educate people that are watching our content. Mm-hmm. But we never ask for the business not that you have to be that specific in the video, but draw it in a way where you're getting leads from it. So how do you do that?
Have you ever heard of ChatGPT?
Yes. I heard it.
Me and Chat, we are besties. Okay. ChatGPT is the next level of technology. It's a little scary, almost, kind of. But you can ask ChatGPT anything.
Yeah.
So what I ask ChatGPT, I always ask ChatGPT, hey, in the next year, I'd like to get 12 listings. Draw me a plan, for the next year that I can actively follow, not just some crazy routine.
Yeah.
And this is what my schedule is like, and this is where I have time to do things, and this is how many activities I can do a month, and, draw me a plan. ChatGPT will tell you what to do.
You see, I think you're taking advantage of it way better than I am, because I feel like I'm just being way too basic with my questions, but something like that seems like that's such a task for a person to do, and they're just going to pop that out for you.
Boom.
Yeah.
It thinks a little.
Right.
Boop, boop, boom.
Yeah.
So honestly, I'm going to tell you, ChatGPT, yes, 100%. I tell it, look, ChatGPT, in the next month, I want, this many more views on Instagram using trial reels. ChatGPT says, okay, it does its research. I tell it, do some research and figure out the best timings to post, the best content to post, what is priority number one to sellers and buyers, and, come up with some hooks, come up with some captions, draw the caption in a way where the younger generation is appealed to read it.
Yeah.
I tell it everything. And it literally thinks for a while, and then it comes up with responses for you. And you sit there and you think, I don't really like the drawing in this one.
Yeah.
I don't really like the idea in this one. And you edit based off of that. And I'm telling you, phenomenal.
Wow. So now you gave me some homework. I need to start doing some more.
Phenomenal.
Because I do use it, but sometimes I feel like I'm using it like I'm just replacing Google. Instead of just asking Google, I'm just asking ChatGPT. But it seems like you're taking it to a whole other level that I need to really explore.
ChatGPT is like my bestie assistant ever. Free, and then you can pay for it. The paid version, pay for it.
Okay.
It made me want to pay for it.
What's the big difference between the paid one and not? Because I feel like for everything I've asked it for in the free version, I've got. So I haven't hit that point where it's like, oh, I need the paid version for that one.
Have you generated images yet?
No.
I generate a lot of my images on ChatGPT. I tell it what I want. Like it's a painter. And I say, hey, I'm trying to make a slide in a reel. And I want the slide to show, the services that I offer. I want the background to have a house in it. I want it to have a sunset type of glow. I also want the color scheme to be navies, beiges, and whites. Make a modern chic image that I can add into a slide on a trial reel on Instagram and, leave room at the bottom for my logo and my business card or input my business information. And then it thinks for a while, of course, it's drawing for you, and it comes up with an image. And then based off that,
I've tried something like that, but do you have to link it with Canva or something like that, or it'll just do it within ChatGPT?
It'll just do it within ChatGPT.
Have you used it to make flyers? Because I think that's what I tried, but then I said I had to link it to Canva, do all kinds of different things, because it was just it was really weird. I just got to play around with it more, I guess. But it made the flyer, but it was so weird because the text in the flyer was kind of warped somehow where you couldn't really read it.
Oh, I tell ChatGPT, you messed up.
Oh.
Fix this.
Yeah.
And I tell it exactly where it messed up too.
Oh, okay.
That part is frustrating because sometimes it's on another level. It's not really comprehending what you want it to do.
Yeah.
In those instances, I take a break because I get really frustrated with it. It's almost kind of like human.
Right.
So I put it in the corner.
You put it on timeout for a little bit.
And then I come back to it later. And I try to reword it differently because sometimes it just doesn't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But
That's what I heard, that it's really important. The prompts need to be as detailed as possible to really get what you're looking for, right?
and I hate typing, so I just microphone and I just speak to it
Oh, okay.
like a person.
Yeah. I saw you do a post about what you should do when you buy your home and you get the keys. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about what you should be doing. If
Change the locks.
okay,
I would change the locks. Transfer the utilities. I would scrub out the toilets and obviously deep clean before you move in. You need to change over your billing address, forward your mail, things like that.
yeah, it's funny because when I saw that, I was like, I don't think I ever even changed the locks when I bought my place. I think I eventually did for other reasons. Won't discuss here, but yeah, I mean, I guess there's some of the little things that you don't even think about, right?
Yeah, it I just feel like helps to have a list.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give people lists at the end. I
Yeah.
tell them, hey, don't forget, click, 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 text
Right.
it to them.
What about what not to do? Because that was part of their post too, right? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't. These are all things, you take notes on and then you put it together.
Yeah.
Piece it away.
What about time of the year to be buying a home? What would you say is the best time? I know it's always busiest during the summer, but does that actually mean it's the best time to buy?
Honestly, the best times right now, it's when you can. If you're approved, you should buy a house.
Yeah.
Because in 2 years' time, the market is still going to be going upwards. You're going to be looking back going, wow, those prices were low.
Yeah.
Everybody does that. Every 2 years, prices are up. So you should buy if you can for whatever you're approved for. Buy then and then transfer later.
What are some tips for, like, let's say some first-time buyers or young investors? What are some tips to kind of get them on the right track? Or let's say that, because a lot of people say like this year my goal is to buy a house, or maybe next year. But what are some like solid steps that they should be taking if that's what their plan is?
Stop going out.
Stop going on vacation.
Stop wasting money.
Yeah.
Save your money, and then when you have it, I know a lot of young people that have money, and instead of investing it in real estate, they're putting it in stocks. Whatever, whatever works for you financially. Personally, I wouldn't do that. The stocks are volatile. They go up and down. It's kind of like waging bets in a Vegas casino, but on the stock market, put it in a house, because putting it in a house is like putting it in the bank.
It's like almost guaranteed.
Almost guaranteed. And who sells in a down market?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the market is down, are you going to sell?
Right.
We're not going to sell.
Yeah.
We're going to wait. We're going to wait till it comes up. You're going to rent it out. You're going to figure it out.
Right.
Your parents figured it out. The generation before them figured it out. We will all figure it out.
I saw another one of your video that I think you were saying, even if you live at home, doesn't matter. You can buy this small condo. You can Airbnb it out. There's a lot of ways to get invested, right, in the market without actually buying your own home to live in.
Yeah. I actually just sold a house and a condo near Anaheim area, and they're going to Airbnb it out for the Disneyland crowd, and they're expected to make like $9,000 a month. They live in the area. They go clean it themselves every time a person leaves. They just go through the house, clean it, broom it, sweep it, mop it, put the dishes away, and they're going to be making $9,000 a month.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much like Disneyland, their reach goes as far as space, right? Because I even have friends that have Airbnbs in like Montebello out that way, and people rent, like, Disneyland's in their description, like, or in their title, it's like, and Disneyland's not that close to Montebello, really. I mean, for us at least.
Right.
But I guess if you're coming from somewhere else, it's like, oh, it's only 20 minutes or whatever it is, 20, 25 minutes. Doesn't seem that far, but yeah, but I could only imagine if you're in Anaheim, it's probably like Disneyland every day is rented for that, right?
I live very close to Disneyland, and it's always busy there.
Yeah.
Like, always.
That's crazy. Disneyland reaches is pretty wild.
It is.
They need to know about like Six Flags and all that. Because I don't know, I haven't been to Disneyland since I was like a kid, but
Oh, really?
yeah, so I think the last time I went, even California Adventures wasn't even built yet.
Like, you have to go. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the passes are insane now. The pricing for Disneyland is insane. The tickets are like $120 $20.
Yeah.
Not too bad. It's the food inside and
You're spending like 500
$40 on parking. Yeah, it gets close to 500 for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 people. Easy.
All right. So, why don't you tell me a little bit about your mom and work-life balance? Because I know you have one kid, right?
Yes.
How old is your
He just
son?
turned 2.
Yeah.
So much fun.
How do you
He's
balance that though, isn't it? Especially having such a young kid.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I thank my clients a lot because I know they hear him crying in the back all the time. Or whining or screaming or singing.
Yeah.
It's, it is what it is. If it's a cycle of life, and people honestly are very warm and welcoming to it. I don't bring him to the showing, but I do work from home. Sometimes he's in the background and I just deal with it as it comes.
Yeah.
The hardest part, I would say, is his medical challenges.
Okay.
So I have to schedule myself around those a lot, his physical therapies or feeding therapies. But I get it done. I just do what
I guess, I mean, when you think about it, this is actually, it could be a great industry to work in if you want to have
flexibility,
right? Because you're not like on a 9 to 5. You may work more than that, but at least you're not like having to clock in and out at certain times, so it gives you that, like you said, that flexibility.
Yeah.
If you have some young kids.
You will definitely work more.
Yeah.
But it's cool because, in the middle of the day, if I have to take him, let's say for feeding therapy, we go to Irvine, I let my clients know, this is the window where I have to pick him up, go take him, bring him back. So I won't be available in this window.
Right.
Let's either schedule after or before this window. And, either they're understanding about it or they're like a different day, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long have you been actually in the industry? How long ago did you get in?
I think it's been over 6 years now.
Okay. Have you had some ups and downs, some slow times? And if so, what are maybe some tips that you have for realtors that may be struggling right now? Or maybe new realtors that are coming into the industry? What are some tips to kind of motivate them, get them going? Tell us about maybe the times that you were struggling a little bit.
Oh my gosh, when my baby was born.
Yeah.
It was bad when my baby was born for a while. But you know what? God gets you through everything he puts you through. Because you can get through it. So for me, I think when my baby was born, I focused more of my energy on the baby and we just got by, because we had to get him on track. We had to get him enrolled in all the therapies and whatever. He was the main focus. When I came back, obviously I wasn't paying attention to my business. The pipeline was dry. So I was saying to myself, the next 3 months, every 5 days, I'm going to host an open house. So for like 3 or 4 months, I was open house, open house, open house, open house. I was just meeting people, meeting people. And that fruitioned into 3 deals back to back. So
Nice.
It got me.
Got you going again.
Yes, because it snowballs. You just need one.
Yeah.
You just need one. You market that one, another one comes. It snowballs. So
Right.
you
just got to get that momentum.
Yeah,
going,
you just got to get running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are like, for example, you said the open houses. What are like a couple of things that you can say, like start doing A, B, and C, and you're going to start seeing a little bit of movement?
In the open house?
Or just in general. I'm saying like, what are some things that if someone's struggling right now, what are like 3 different tasks that they can do that you would say would help get some deals?
Post 2 posts on your social media a week.
Okay.
No matter what.
Minimum, I would say.
Minimum, yes.
Yeah.
I would say 3 would be like a sweet spot.
Yeah.
You should post 3. You shouldn't overwhelm your crowd.
Yeah.
But you should every couple days, hey, I'm still live.
Yeah.
So post 3 posts to your social medias a week. You need to host open houses. You need at least 2 every weekend. So you should have at least 8, I would say, in a month.
So you brought this up earlier, that you like ask agents to throw an open house your way,
Yes.
right? So how can they? What's the strategy to kind of get in the open houses? Because obviously, if they don't have their own listings, they need to host other people's listings. So how did you go about doing that?
Different strokes for different folks. Depends on the person you're talking to. If I know that the listing agent is like very into listings in those areas, I tell them, I'll share the listing leads with you. We can go 50-50 on the listing leads. We can use whatever sign-in you would like, and we can go 50-50 on the listing leads. Is that okay? I'll sit there for you all day. And most listing agents don't want to sit in their open houses.
Yeah.
You know, they have other activities that they would like to be doing.
Yeah. Especially if they're really busy agents, right? I mean, sometimes they just don't have the time to sit there for 3-4 hours, you know?
No, really, they don't. Yeah. And especially because it ties you up. Like for me, I do a lot of showings on the weekends if I'm not doing the open houses, or I'm doing showings, boom, run to open house, boom, showings. Those are like crazy days.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do those. And sometimes I can't, like I have to schedule the open house 11 to 2 because I can't make the open house 1 to 4. I have showings that day. It all just has to be a flow and movement. But to get the open houses, that's what I would tell the listing agents. Or I also let them know I'm very professional. I show up dressed to impress. I don't come, in sandals or anything like that. I come prepared with paperwork. I have paperwork.
Study the property.
Yes, I know the comps, and I have a switch property ready. So would you like to input a switch property of your listings that I can navigate them to? Right. I try to make that interaction with that listing agent as fruitful for them as I can. Of course, it's going to benefit me too, getting the open house. Yeah,
there's like a very, I guess, like strategy to how you do open houses, right? Because I know someone, an agent that we work with, that she has a class that she teaches to younger agents on like how to properly do open houses. Because, I mean, as you said, they became fruitful for you by doing them, So, what are some things that are helpful to know in the open house? I mean, you just mentioned a few of them, but any other like tips that you can give if you're in an open house, how to turn those into leads?
Signage is very important. Although I hate it. That's my most hated. But it has to point in the right directions. So when I put my signage up early, I drive by later and I make sure nobody changed the signs. Like, people do that.
There's haters out there like that.
Other agents are doing this.
Yeah, that's what I'm
other
thinking,
agents, yes. So before the open house starts, to 5-10 minutes before, I'm driving around making sure all my signs are pointed in the right direction. And people come in and I swear, people tell me, it was so easy to follow your signs to your open house. And it's so hard to follow the other ones because people are following the signs.
Yeah.
So make sure they're pointing in the right direction. Make sure you have enough of them. Make sure you check days before that the listing agent, if it's not you, has posted the open house on the MLS. So you're not just sitting there for no reason.
Yeah.
Huge.
Has that happened to you in the past, or like nobody showed up?
Yes. And then when I remind them again and again, they're, I'll put it on this morning. I don't want to do this open house anymore.
Yeah.
Because I know that I'm going to get 2 people coming in here from the signs.
Yeah.
What a waste of my time too. I'm a professional too.
Right, exactly.
So that's very important. If they have not listed the open house the Thursday night before or the Friday morning before, if I'm hosting Saturday, Sunday, I will tell them in my little message to them, I'm a professional. I will not host the open house if you do not post it in an adequate time, because I want to make sure we get enough people into your property.
Worth your time,
to make it work their time too.
Right.
Let's all be professionals.
Yeah. What are some of your goals for 2025 for the rest of the year?
I want to get a few more listings. I want to get a few more buyers. I think I want to do that as my goal. Like, I'm back into farming. I took a little break when my baby was born, but I'm back into farming. And I've made it a goal just to be out in my farm. And I told myself, I don't have to knock on a door, because that's the daunting part.
Yeah.
Nobody likes it when you knock on the door. But I just said, I'll just be out there. Because, when you place yourself in the environment, things just come to you. And it always happens that I'm out there throwing the notepads or throwing the flyers, and someone goes, hey, well, I haven't seen you in a while, or, what is this? And then I start talking to them and I say, did you see the house sold over there? Did you see what it sold for? Did you get a chance to walk through the house? I try to know what the house looks like. Even if I didn't walk through the house, I try to have some knowledge in the farm, you know,
Right.
what's sold. And then I tell them, have you ever thought about selling? Have you ever thought about buying? Do you have a friend that you might want to move close by, you know? And they just start telling you, oh, that lady over there passed away and her son is here on Tuesdays. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah. I
That,
happened to be walking by on Tuesday, walking my
yeah.
dog on Tuesday.
And then, you know, this guy even told me, he said, oh, those people over there just had a kid. They're in a 2-bedroom and that's their third kid. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, his gold mine. And then he was like, did you see the pod over there? And they'll tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
They will literally, they want to talk. They
awesome.
came and found you.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just so important, like you just said, just have like those conversations, get yourself involved. I mean, us, if things get a little slow here, I'm like, all right, what events are this month? Let's start going to events. Let's start making calls. Let's start visiting offices. And I feel like if you're just touching all those things, you know, like business is going to come out of it. You know, it has to. So I think, yeah, that's really important.
Yeah. And I think another big one for me too is like, I am a person of my word. If I said I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
I love that because I think I'm the same way, you know, like I always tell people, if I tell you something, like my word is like bond, you know, like, because I will not, even if I don't want to do it, if I already told you yes, I'm going to do it no matter what, because I feel like it'll bother me more than it bothers them
Yeah.
that I didn't do it, you know? So yeah, I respect that. All right. Well, let's say if somebody wants to get a hold of you, anybody wants to follow your content,
Please
tell
do.
us where to follow you.
I am on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. You just type in my name. A lot of stuff will pop up.
So you're at Sofie
Zillow.
Habeeb everywhere?
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much everywhere. My married last name is not Habeeb, but I have to
That's
register.
your brand?
Yeah, this is the brand now.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't want to change it.
Yeah.
What did my husband do?
That's funny. All right. Well, you guys heard it. You can follow her everywhere at Sofie Habeeb, and we'll also put her information here on the video and in the description section of the YouTube video. So, Sofie, thank you so much for coming down.
Thank you.
And sharing. I think you shared a lot of good information that we're going to be able to cut them up, put them into some clips.
There's a lot up here.
Yeah. Oh, we should do it again.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys on the next one.